once again, I've been shown the way by a track that is outside of the Southeast. We got a. Well, we're going to bring part of this, what I experienced to the show tonight. We're going to have announcer Kyle Hall from Minnesota. He called some of the race with Eshman at North Central Speedway in Brainerd, Minnesota. We're going to bring Scott Greer on. He's a late model pilot out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. For those of you who are geographically challenged, that is Canada. We're also going to bring on Blair Bodley. He is the promoter of Red River Co-op Speedway there in Manitoba, Winnipeg. And then we're going to bring on Darren Evavold. I know I'm going to murder his name. He is one of the promoters at River City Speedway in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Which River City's, oh my goodness, top 5, one of my top 5 favorite tracks. Without further ado,
Webb Dillard, what's going on, dude?
Man, I'm almost glad that this part of the season for me is past. I'm wore out, behind in all my extra work. I apologize to the Neesmith people, but all this traveling, and listen to him, I'm a real a-hole to be complaining about it. So what happened with you this weekend, Brian, before we get into what I did?
Well, I mean, we just done some wheeling and dealing, worked in the shop, picked up a new car.
I lost you. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I was just waiting on you. That's about all we done. We did a little bit of driving, making some deals, working some deals, trying to get this thing back on the track.
Now, are you going with the open wheel car, or are you going with the late model?
Well, we got both of them going. That's the thing. Problem is, I got too much stuff, not enough help, and not to complain about anything, but I want to get back in the late model more than anything. And we got this jet mod set here. It's going back together slowly but surely. But in the process, I've got another car going together, and then I've got all the other things that we have to do on top of that to keep us able to go racing, but without a motor. It just makes it a little rough right now. But it's coming.
That's right. That's right.
It's all coming together. It just, it takes a little bit of time, but we'll get back on track here. Probably about another week, I think.
Now, I've been tonight we're going to bring on some of the people that I've met while I was up north, between Minnesota. I almost said it like that. Minnesota, North Dakota, and first of all, Brian, listen, and I've already talked to my wife about this, so she knows when to say this. There is an abnormal amount of very good-looking women in Winnipeg, even at the racetrack.
Even at the racetrack,
brother.
What about Kyle May?
Kyle May's going to be late. So
I know, but did you see Kyle May's? Did you see the pictures on his page?
I did. Yeah, I seen. Was it some? Did he do something with that, what's that, Instagram or something?
I have no idea, but he's got his arm around 2 Southern girls, looks like.
Yeah, Kyle May is a pimp. He's 21 years old, as he should be, a pimp. He should be pimp. He should be like a boxer. Wait for it. Stick and move. Ba-da-ching. It should be as you can tell, I'm still tired of this little slap happy humor, but I don't care.
How many races did you hit?
I just got to go to 3. I went to the Red River Co-op Speedway, which is a great facility outside of Winnipeg, which you don't think.
I just got to go to 3.
Sorry. You don't think late model racing, I guess, in Canada in the same breath, but I actually knew somebody up there. Scott Greer, with the guest we're going to have on later, driver up there, did some business with him through Old Man's Garage, sold him a part, and you should have seen his face when I introduced myself. He was like, holy crap, never thought I'd ever meet you. I said, well, not that I'm anybody, it's the distance, right? And he goes, yeah, the distance. I said, okay, I'm not anybody. But it was pretty neat to get to talk to him. I got to try some of the local cuisine, one of the local favorites, and it's called, and when I first read it, I thought it was poontang.
Which cowboy?
Yeah, but it's actually Puntin, and a buddy of mine who's in Germany saw that I was via Facebook saw that I was in Canada and where I was at. He said, "You need to try the Puntin," and I said, "I am a married man." But Puntin is French fries.
In some marriages, that's okay.
Well, not mine.
Okay.
That'll get you shot.
Cleared that up.
Yeah, I'll get shot in mine. But the Puntin is actually a local flavor of fare, whatever you want to call it. But it's French fries with gravy and cheese curds.
You lost me at the curds.
Which I had a dirt track version of it. It was the nacho cheese, and it was okay.
It's nacho cheese, huh?
It ain't, yeah. But when I go back to, I'm gonna go.
From under cheese?
No. But Puntin I thought was hilarious, and we'll talk about Puntin when we bring Blair Bodley on, the promoter of Red River Co-op. Kyle's gonna be late.
In the dirt, we have Puntin and from under cheese.
So what happened in racing?
Puntin to be confused with the. That's a universal cuisine.
Yeah.
All right, stop right there.
Yeah, we got to change the subject. I knew Puntin was going to throw us for a loop. But that's what you can look it up. Poutine, Puntin. Sounds funny. And but anyway, what happened in your neck of the woods racing?
Well, Greg Johnson apparently just destroyed everybody this weekend with a win at Moeller Raceway Park, and then followed it up with a win at Florence Speedway, and that's coming off of a win last week at Lawrenceburg Speedway, and there are interviews on the drc.net if you want to see Greg Johnson talk about how he's beating the crap out of everybody. Other than that, I think that we got in a pretty good weekend of racing. A few tracks rained out, but for the most part, the ones that are close to me got to run.
I spent about an hour and a half today trying to find and get a hold of Greg Johnson. So if you know, I'd like to have him on the show if you know a way to get a hold of him.
See if we can get a hold of Greg Johnson here real quick.
Well, our first guest. We don't have to necessarily tonight, because we might have a surprise at the end, maybe, right?
Let me track down his phone number, and maybe we'll just call him and just give him some crap.
Well, our first guest is should be coming here shortly. Let's see here. It looks like he might already actually be on the line. Let's go ahead and go with our first guest, and let's bring on Kyle here. Not to be confused with our Kyle. Mr. Kyle Hall, welcome to In the Dirt.
Hey, good day. Talk to you, Webb.
So, Kyle, you got to, in your words, work with one of the best, Rick Eshman, over the weekend. Talk to us a little bit about the World of Outlaw show that you got to help call at North Central Speedway there in Brainerd, Minnesota.
Well, that was, for an announcer, a small-town announcer like myself, that was a bucket list kind of a thing for me. As you said, I got to work with Rick Eshman, who is, everybody knows that listens to your show, is the late model World of Outlaw announcer for the whole series, and the nicest guy in the world. Just super cool. You come into a situation like that, and you think this guy's going to have just a big giant ego, and he didn't at all. Your whole crew was just phenomenal. It was very, very cool, and for me to come in there and be able to, my thoughts coming into that race is I get to go do the local races, and I should preface to you, Webb, and I think you already knew, I'm like the fill-in announcer at that track. I do motocross is what I normally announce, and at that track, the normal guy, Mike Brown, couldn't be there that week, and this past Saturday, and I got to come in there and announce the local stuff, and I thought that's all I was going to get to do is just do some super stock and some Midwest modified announcing, and Rick said, no, come on in, and we're going to announce the Outlaws together, and so for me to be able to announce those names and next to him on the same mic, that was phenomenal for me.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but your golden pipes were all over Dirt on Dirt, too, because when I filmed it, I had the direct feed. So not only did you get to call it there locally, but everybody who subscribes to Dirt on Dirt also got to hear
I didn't know that until about halfway through when one of my very best brand-new friends made a comment in the background when I mentioned duct tape. One of my very best friends off to my right-hand side, way over there in the corner, he said, back home we call that Alabama chrome. And I repeated it, thinking, no one here's from Alabama. I ain't going to offend anybody. And then you two, Rick and yourself, started cracking up, going, no, we're going out to the whole world here, buddy. So thanks for the heads up on that.
And no worry. And I'll tell everybody, I'm the one that called duct tape Alabama chrome because that's what it's called, Alabama chrome.
That's exactly what it's called.
Now, so you guys, that's a big show for you guys to get the World of Outlaws in there.
It was very cool.
And you did such a fabulous job. I mean, you held your own with Rick. I listened to you when you were down there, and you kind of got a little punchy a little bit with him, and I think you did fine with Rick. And Rick, like you said, there's no ego with that guy.
No, none at all. He was very fantastic and super gracious to allow me to sit next to him and talk. And then when the mics were off, that's when it really got fun. Is between you and him, I was laughing the whole night, and even came home and talked to my wife and kids about it, and they had a good time. And going back to my normal job today, everybody was, that was at the races said that they had a blast and listening to the two of us cutting up and having fun. So
obviously, you're just like everybody else, including myself, Ryan Gray, my co-host. We're just race fans at heart. Talk to us a little bit about how has your time in the sport evolved from when you first started? Where did you actually come from when you first started?
My racing started and pretty much still is purely as a spectator. That track where we at, North Central Speedway, right there in the middle of Minnesota, Brainerd, Minnesota is where it's at. And I've been going there. I'm 39 years old now, and I've literally been going there for at least 30 years, if not longer. And I've seen that track graduate from. We used to have. I'm assuming you guys know what railroad ties are. That was what the front wall was in between the grandstands and the people, was just that, no fence or anything. And
safety first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's before they invented OSHA. And there was no walls on the corners or anything like that, like a lot of tracks still are today. And throughout the years, there's been different owners, and the current owner right now has spent, I would assume, millions of dollars making huge improvements to that raceway, and very much about the safety. My brother, I had a brother that 23 years ago, I guess this summer, had leukemia. He had cancer of the blood, and his dying wish was to race on the dirt. We up here in Minnesota, when the lakes freeze, we go out and plow tracks out on the ice, and we go ice racing in our cars. And he had done that as a young kid, 15, 16, 17 years old. But when it come time that we knew he wasn't going to make it, and he was terminally ill, his goal was to become a stock car racer. He wanted to go race on the dirt, and through some friends of the family, they made that happen for him. And so the last 6 weeks of his life, he got to spend at that very track, going fast and turning left. And so that was very cool. There's a lot of really, really fond memories, for me at that track. And 3 weeks ago was my first time ever announcing at that track, and it was very much just a fill-in kind of a deal. And we had, it was literally, Webb, one of those deals where as a race fan, that's the only track I wanted to announce at for my whole life. I guess not my whole life, but since I became an announcer, and to be able to get to do that, and then follow it up 3 weeks later by announcing the World of Outlaw late models, it's been a good month.
Well, so you're closely connected with the Speedway. Who's behind the absolute phenomenal pyrotechnics, the fireworks that right before the race? That was one of the best.
That is a very good friend of mine, actually, and I didn't even know he was going to be there. That was all for you guys. That was all part of your show there. And his name is George Burton. He's an electrician here in town, and he owns a place called Burt Electric, and he's exactly what you just said, a pyro, and he goes out and wires fireworks throughout the whole upper Minnesota part here, and different 4th of July shows, and if there's a celebration of all the little small towns around here have their days, the Brainerd days and Baxter days and that sort of stuff. And he wires those, and that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean that was one of the, I mean I can't think of another one. Nothing comes to mind that was like that when it was going off. I went down there to the Flagstaff. I don't know if you saw, but I went down there to get a shot of the 4 wide, and all of a sudden, Michael Buffer's "Let's Get Ready to Rumble." I mean, I thought it was almost like a war zone, and I mean I got great pictures of it and the sound. So, but that was wonderful. The race was wonderful. You know, Lanigan. I mean, what can you say about Lanigan? He sets a new single season win record with 10 wins.
10 wins.
Tons of season left to add to it.
Yeah, that's the phenomenal thing. Rick and I were talking about that after the race. Is the fact that I mean he broke Scott Bloomquist's record. I mean that's in late model world. he's Richard Petty, you know, and and he's got it's only like midway through the season, and so he's not only going to beat that record, he's going to destroy that record.
Real quick, some of my Facebook friends may have seen the pictures of I'm going to say it wrong, Buffalo River Raceway Park.
You nailed it.
Okay, so I stumble across this racetrack as I'm going from Grand Forks to Brainerd. Tell us a little bit about that place, and anybody who's listening is friends with me on Facebook. Go to my Facebook page. You can go to the mobile uploads and see this racetrack. That place is cool. Give us a little bit of information about that racetrack, which I didn't get to see any racing at, but I had to stop to take pictures.
It's a very cool place, and it's a little deceiving, and you'll maybe testify to this. When you drive by, you're like, it doesn't look all that impressive. But once you get in there, the inside of that place is very cool. It's all indoor seating. I mean, there's a little bit of outdoor seating, but even just the general admission stuff is all inside, and it's carpeted, and there's nice siding and everything inside there. There's 2 actual bars, you know, like adult beverage bars, or like we were calling it Barley Pop.
Yeah, Barley Pop.
Pop for your listeners down south, that's soda or Coke.
No, everything is Coke here.
Exactly.
It's Pop in Indiana, and it's soda up there. How they
exactly.
Say
Yeah, there's a little bit of soda. A lot of us call it Pop, though. But anyways, they got 2 bars there and a great concession stand and an arcade for the kids that, you know, maybe they got drugged to the races and they don't necessarily want to go out and watch them, and so there's an arcade there, and then they run a really great show. They run up here in Wissota, we call Midwest mods, or B mods is sort of what everyone calls them. So they run B mods. They run a pure stock class, which is just the regular old sedans, you know, throw a roll cage in it and come racing. And then they run a legend class, you know, same exact legends that are, you know, born in North Carolina and mostly race on asphalt. But they race them on the dirt up there. They're all locked motors, and man, that was my favorite one to watch because that was really, really cool. And then every other week they race street stock cars and A mods. They flip them back and forth, and that's really more of just you know, trying to draw in the guys that maybe don't want to do it full time and want to go camping with their family or have a little bit more free time in the summertime, but still want to get their racing fix, and so they can race every other weekend instead of every single week all summer long, and they really have a lot of success up there. I got to announce, in fact, that was my second car race, was just a week ago, was up there, and man, they put on a really, really great show.
Now, and the surface is probably one of the blackest clay, dirt, or soil. I was surprised when I got there. I looked out there; it was black, and it looks like it would hold together real well once it was wet and rolled in.
I was super impressed by it. It looks, for those, I mean, everyone's seen a dirt track get rubbered up and get the blue groove down low like it always does, and that's what this track looks like everywhere, from top to bottom. And when they rolled it in, when I got there, I was thinking, boy, this is not going to be cool because this is just going to be a mud fest, and you're not going to be able to see. There's going to be mud flying everywhere. And when they got it rolled in, it was like asphalt. I mean, it was there wasn't a lot of dust to it. It was very, very cool.
Well, all right. Well, what's on the horizon for Kyle Hall? Are you going to get more shows there at North Central, or
I that's yet to be determined, I guess. But I would love to fill in for the guys that are doing it already. Mike does a fantastic job, and and KT and Cliff, who Cliff is the owner of the track and KT is the promoter there. If they see fit that I should be around a little bit more, then we absolutely will be. I do motocross still all the time. Almost every single week I'm out announcing motocross somewhere and little county fairs throughout northern Minnesota here, and then I race myself in I mentioned it before, in the wintertime when the lakes get hard up here. We go out and plow a track on there, and me and my son Keith, we go out and race a little bit and have fun doing that. So,
well, Kyle, I certainly appreciate you coming on. I want to stay in touch with you because I want you to be our kind of a WSOTA correspondent. That's big.
I will do that.
That's a big series, the big sanctioning body up there from your neck of the woods. The websites are racencs.net for North Central.
That's North Central's website, and guys can follow that. And they have a huge Facebook following. I think 5,000 fans, or almost 5,000 fans that they've got going on for North Central Speedway. And then WSOTA's is WSOTA.org. There's a magazine that is I believe just a WSOTA magazine. It's called All the Dirt.
That's
and
right.
It's actually more like a newspaper kind of a thing.
And the cool thing I do know a little bit about that. The cool thing about that is WSOTA gives a copy of that to all 3,000 members of WSOTA.
Yes, it's like the newsletter of the series, and it has every result. All the national points are in there, and it's got little sort of human interest stories from all the drivers. If there's something unique happened to this driver or that driver, they put that in there with a good story about it, and it's pretty cool. Good
source. If there's any companies out there, any affiliated people with companies, a good source of advertising. You're going directly to the drivers. The other website I want to give out, since we spoke about it, is the BuffaloRiverRacing.com. It's a really cool track. There's probably some pictures on there. Just look at, they do snowcross, oval track snowmobile racing. That looks like it'd be awesome.
That is a lot of fun. They actually do the snow, like they do the oval stuff, but then more motocross style.
Okay,
Well.
cross. That makes snowcross. That makes total sense now.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right, Kyle. Like I said, man, thank you so much. Your hospitality there. We cut up from, I think, the very first minute we were up there in the booth with y'all. And tell Mrs. Kyle, like I said when we were leaving, I started to keep you guys. We were talking to a wall if I thought I would speak back. So.
No problem. She's listening in the other room out here, so she just heard you apologize. So.
Well, hey, Miss Kyle, all the way from Alabama. And we'll get back in touch with you, and we're connected now on Facebook. So if something happens, something you need to get on here and promote something, give me a shout, and we'll have you back on, brother.
Sounds beautiful. I appreciate the hospitality, Webb.
Not a problem. Kyle Hall, announcer from Minnesota, motorsports fanatic. All right, let's see. You there, Gray?
Yeah, pretty interesting week, huh?
That Kyle guy, listen, we go to the racetrack, and you always, as an outsider, you try to go into a situation where you don't want to make nobody mad, and they sometimes you go in and they already think that you're going to be. It's like you said, you think somebody like Eschman or anybody that comes in new is going to have an attitude, and so we try not to. But then when you come across somebody like Kyle, where you can just, and I say his name just like I say Kyle May's name, but when you come across somebody like Kyle Hall. Kyle, it's
Kyle Paddock.
It makes it so much better to go to a new racetrack when you got somebody so receptive to you being there. Now that may have a lot to do with him being a fill-in. We don't know what the original guy with one he was filling in for, but Kyle is going to have. If I have any influence on it, it's going to be a big part of what we do anyway. Real good dude. Well, all right.
It's always not go someplace new and be feel like you're welcome. Then you, of course.
Well, no, I've been some places where you just, I don't know, they just don't want you there. It seems like, and
you're not part of the good old boys club.
Oh well, I don't ever intend on being a part of the good old boys club. I mean, I want to do right by the sport, and I want to put a little bread on the table, for my efforts. But as far as being a good old boy, I hope I'm not confused for that. We are waiting on Mr. Scott Greer to call. He should be calling in. Hopefully he remembers. I'll tell you what.
Hey, there's a 256 number.
Well, let me do this. because I know who that is.
Want to take a little break?
No, we're not going to take a little break. We're going to bring him on. Yeah, you did.
Did you have them two girls in Hucklebuck?
No, I'm rounding up parts right now.
He's ramming up parts.
Yeah, that's it.
What?
I'm picking up some gaskets for my dad's engine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a head gasket issue.
He finally blew the gasket on your ass.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it crew chief's fault?
I don't think so. I mean, it was a borrowed engine, and the guy was like, well, I run a thermostat in it. And so as soon as he got on the racetrack, it ran hot like we had expected. And I told him we should change it before we ever went, but he never listens. He never listens to me.
Tell us about those two little girls on your page.
Hey, it was a wild weekend. That's all I can really say. There's a lot of ways to put this, but it was a wild weekend. That was probably about, I don't know, that was probably about 3:30 Saturday or Sunday morning, I guess, 3:30 a.m. So, you know how nights like that go.
Well,
if you look close, I think I might have been wearing high heels. So,
oh no.
There were so many different contests that we had to partake in that night for some reason, and I believe I won that part, but why, I don't know.
And if you tell me you won the swimsuit competition, I will hang up on you.
No, I didn't. I didn't win that.
But you were in one?
No. I think I got like widest legs maybe, and the best guy walking in high heels. So.
Well, all right. Well, let's save this friendly banter to the end of the show. Let's bring our next guest on real quick because I got a guy calling at 6:40, Mr. Blair Bodley of the Red River Co-op Speedway. He's going to call right after his drivers meeting. So I got to make sure we get Scott on here. Welcome to the program. I want to call him a friend of mine now since I finally got to meet him. Scott Greer, late model pilot, Winnipeg, Manitoba. How are you, buddy?
Things are good. And yourself?
Oh, just jet lagged and tired. But, heck, I got to see some good racing up there in Canada, so I'm real proud right now.
Well, thanks for coming. Appreciate you coming there. It was turned out to be a better show than I thought it was going to be, and found out how fast those guys in real life are around here. After running around here for the last 10, 15 years, we kind of figured we were kind of had our stuff figured out, but we found out very fast how much we have to go still.
Now, you and I go back about a year when I worked at Old Man's Garage. We'd done a little bit of business over the telephone. I sent you a part, and then I surprised you in the pits the other day. And
yes, sir.
You tell me there may not be much passing. And then you go out there, and Brian Gray, this gentleman here, Scott Greer, put a move on the outside of the first and second place car in the B main that it really got the crowd went nuts because he went from third to first in one turn on a track that he said we would be able to pass on more than likely.
Well, they've been doing a good job this year. I know that we kind of fought it a little bit in turn 3 and 4 and keeping the clay together. It gets really crumbly, and it's hard to get off the bottom, but they've been working pretty hard out there this year, and it was nice to have slick and smooth and what appeared to be 2 lanes in 1 and 2, but they're working hard, and that's all I can say. It's going to be, with a little more work, it's going to be good. So, but I appreciate that comment because it felt pretty exciting in the seat, and thank goodness it worked. Otherwise, it would have looked like we were we shouldn't have been out there.
It was very exciting. Now, what is the overall age and health of the stock car racing, so to speak, there in Canada, in Manitoba, I guess, in particular?
I think at least 50 years. A few different variations of racetrack. I believe that one there has been there since the early 70s. With a few name changes and different lengths on it. They did have some previous asphalt and dirt racing in the city of Winnipeg here, but the city of Winnipeg has just been growing so much now. Winnipeg and surrounding area, I think we're close to 900,000 people now. So, but that facility has been in its current configuration since about 95. It used to be a half mile. I think they call it a 4/10 now. So late models are fairly new to it. We've been running late models kind of as a touring basis up there up until about 3 years ago, in which they started running them weekly again.
So what now? Looking back in your career, what did you guys come up through the stock bombers or whatever? I mean, everybody has a different name for them, but how did you guys get started in the sport of auto racing?
I started in '96 when I was just turned 15. Ran with like a street stock type car. Ran that for a couple of years, and then '98 we started running modifieds, Wasota modified, which it used to be similar to an IMCA car, but now it's kind of evolved more to an ump style car. With the quick change rear end and the engine package. Ran that up until '05 after winning some touring races, which was pretty cool back then, and been in late models ever since. This year, actually, you caught me right now. We're in the shop right now working on our modified. We'll run up in Winnipeg there this week, and in a couple of weeks all over the Wasota circuit again. So we've been kind of dabbling back and forth between mods and late models over the last 10 years. So
now you guys get to the States quite a bit to race, I would think.
Yeah, that was the second time I've raced in Canada this year. Usually only a handful of shows up around where in Winnipeg here, or there's another racetrack in Morden, Manitoba, a couple hours south of us here. But we don't, with the classes we have, and I guess some of our personal choice, we tend to get race mostly in the States because we have, of course, as everyone does, a limited budget, and we try to race where we have fun and somewhere different as much as we can.
So what's the process for you guys leaving Canada? I was almost treated like an absolute criminal coming across the border.
We get that way coming back into our country as well. Your country is much more accepting of us than we are.
It was wild. The guy was like, "Are you sure you're not bringing illegal drugs into our country?" And I was like, I patted myself down and said, "Nope, let them at home." He wasn't. It's okay. We see some of the guards there on the U.S. side, throughout the summer because we cross, basically every weekend. So it's not too bad. But again, coming back into our country, you're exactly right. It's you have less rights there than you would everywhere else in the world. and I wasn't upset in the least, but I got real nervous when I figured out that he didn't have the same sense of humor I have. I was like, oh. So as he's putting on his black gloves, he's like, "Are you sure there's nothing you need me to tell me before I search your vehicle?" And I was like, "Hell, maybe there is something I need to tell him. I don't know." But anyway. Yeah,
that's the beauty of a rental car.
Yeah. So anyway, they come back in, and he had a whole different demeanor. And his actual comment was, he said, "So you're coming all the way from Alabama to this old racetrack up here that doesn't mean anything?" And I said, "Buddy," I said, it's the biggest race that track's probably seen in a while, and there's tons of Americans who are going to be following it, and I'll be filming it. So it's a pretty big deal in our community. I don't know about your community, but
yeah.
But he's just doing his job, and I appreciate the fact that they help keep our country and your country both safe, and that it was just a different experience. So.
Yeah, we have to live that on every weekend, unfortunately, but it's nice that your country accepts us. So.
Well, what's coming up on Scott Greer's horizon? Are you following a series? Are you points racing? Are you just hit and miss? What's going on with you?
We're definitely hit and miss. We'll race this modified. We've got a little experimental modified we're racing. We'll be running in Winnipeg on Thursday here at the Red River Co-op Speedway. And then we may have a couple weeks off here. We're gearing up for the USA Nationals coming up in Cedar Lake at the first weekend of August. That's always a great time and a great show. And then that following Sunday, we'll be up in Superior, Wisconsin, with the late model for the Twin Ports 25. Troy Powers puts on a pretty neat little show up there where it's basically two separate nights of racing all in one. And it used to be at the Proctor Speedway. We moved it over to the Amsoil Speedway in Superior, Wisconsin. So it's kind of exciting. I haven't raced there in probably 10 years, so I'm excited to get back. So.
All right. Well, before I let you go, man, give out your website and also thank your sponsors and some of the crew that helped you guys keep that car on the racetrack.
Absolutely. www.scottgreer5g.com. Help on the cars. We've got FYE Motorsports, Chris Steppen out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Miller Racing Engines, www.millerengines.com. Masters Built Race Cars help us out, General Signs, and help on the car at home here. My dad is full-time at home here working on the stuff, and I couldn't do it without him. Mom helps us every way, shape, or form, and Nick Cooper is one of my best buddies and one of my best crewmen, and he'll be the one covered in tire grinding dust every time you see him.
Well, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking your time out, Scott. It was very, very good to finally get to meet you. I'm glad you guys had a little bit of an accident, but you're recovering now, back racing.
Yep.
Well, and I'll see you at Cedar Lake, brother.
Sounds great. We'll see you then.
All right, Scott Greer. Everybody check him out online. Scott Greer, 5G.com. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
You there, Brian?
I'm still here. What's up?
Yeah, that dude, he put a move on first, second, and third. And the B main, like you wouldn't believe. I had to run. I actually ran down from the grandstands to tell him congratulations for the move he put on him.
It sounds like he probably had a heck of a run and just ate him up, huh?
Yeah. Well, so before the show, like I said, we were talking, and he's like, I hope the racetrack comes around like it usually does. But right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be any passing. And there was plenty of passing. But the move he did, and he's a kind of a hometown guy. He just shot on the outside, no less, around two people in one turn. Amazing. Now, have you got somebody keyed up for us?
Oh yeah, I can. All I got to do is hit dial, dude.
All right, go ahead. Let's go.
Hit dial, man. Hold on. Here we go. We'll just let it come right straight through. This will be a surprise to everybody. Are you being quiet?
I'm being quiet.
How come?
Have we got him on the line?
No, not yet.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
You got the same screen I do, don't you?
Yeah, I see his number.
I hit the button and it just quit. Hold on. Let's do this again.
Okay, let's try it.
Caller. Oh, dude, he hung up.
We lost him.
No, we didn't. Check this out. I can do it again.
Well, hang on one second. Let's see if Okay. There we go.
Technology.
Hello.
Mr. Greg Johnson.
How we doing?
Hey, Greg, this is Webb Dillard. You're on live with us on In the Dirt. I hear you've been winning a shit ton of races lately.
We've been winning a few.
Mr. Johnson, you may remember me from Old Man's Garage. That's how we know each other. Talk to us a little bit about this tear you're on.
We just been sticking around home, kind of knocking a few off. We've just, really hit on something, and this Masterbuilt car and A. Hines Racing Engines mobile, it's been going pretty good.
So what is it exactly that you've hit on?
If I had to do that, I'd have to shoot you. No, it's just, I tell you what, me and James, we just really been working good together. And we just kind of been clicking, and things has been working, man.
Now,
Webb, I don't know if you watched it, but last Saturday night, this guy sat back. Did you know that they were going to just tear each other up? Were you really waiting for that moment?
Actually, the lap before that, I actually got out off the bottom groove to try to make something happen, and I knew that I knew the last lap, if I got out there like they done, that what would happen, because it just kind of sucked you up. It was just dust laying out there. And when I seen both of them fighting for it, and they went in the corner and both missed it, I knew I had a good chance. And I got lucky enough to get by Dwayne and James and go on to win that race.
Now, I want to touch on something real quick, Greg. Now, so I get my July issue of Late Model Illustrated, And the day I get it, actually. And there you are, gracing the cover in the 49 car. And no sooner than I turn the first page, I get a phone call that says, you're no longer in that car. Is that something you want to or can talk about?
It's just, it just happened. We was at Tyler County, and Jack, which owns the 49 car, he just came to me and said, hey, we're going home. I'm done. So, and to make a long story short, James called me and asked me to drive their car, and I took it.
Evidently, it's worked out for the better. It sounds like.
Yeah, James, I drove this car last year, and we was pretty successful around home, and we had talked all through the off season and everything, and we put this deal together as far as in a short period of time, and things has really worked out for the best.
Well, for the people down here in the South, and including myself, that may not know your whole background or your whole, is this year been pretty good to you compared to some recent years, or are you right where you've always been as far as the winning goes?
Last year, I'm not sure exactly how many I won last year. I think I won 3 or 4. Right now, to this date, I've won 5 this year, over actually the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I don't know. Things are kind of looking up.
Now, are you going to be able to hit any of the bigger shows like you were hitting in the beginning of the season?
Yeah, we're going to try to hit all the big races around home, as in like Portsmouth and the Jackson 100 and North South and all that stuff. But just something within 3 hours, that pays good money. This weekend we're traveling to Richmond, Kentucky. They're having the Butterball down there. We're going to go down there and try to get that one.
Well, all right. Well, I appreciate you letting us just kind of ambush you this evening, calling you there this late in the evening. I hope we're not interrupting dinner or anything. Before we let you get out of here, thank some of your sponsors and some of those guys that helped you get that car into victory lane the last 5 or 6 times you've been out. Yes.
Anyway, Tracy and James Hines and Arnold, they did everything to put this together. A. Hines Racing Engines, Masters Built Race Cars, Inner City Properties, Hoosier by Fry, FK Rod Ends, and Skill Saw Design.
Mr. Greg Johnson, catch him up at the Richmond Butterball, is what you called it?
Yes.
I almost was going to go cover that race, but I've got some previous engagements. Well, good luck for the rest of the season, and I'll tell you what, we'll have you back on. You keep getting those checker flags, we'll have you back on.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks for calling in, bud.
Well, let's go to commercial real quick. We should be expecting Mr. Blair Bodley calling in any second now from the Red River Co-op Speedway in Manitoba. That's a funny word to say, Manitoba. Say it to yourself a few times.
Manitoba.
Yeah, you said it, Kyle, Manitoba.
Manitoba?
No.
Manawata?
Manitoba?
Manitoba?
We'll be right back. Welcome back in as we are patiently waiting for our next guest to call in.
Driver's meeting's running long.
Well, the guy... Oh, there we go. Here we go. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Mr. Blair How do you say your last name, Blair?
Bodley.
Bodley. I knew
Blair Bodley.
Well, Mr. Bodley, welcome to In the Dirt. Thank you for taking time out of your race evening.
Oh, thank you. I'm just enjoying the opportunity to join you.
And so we were up there. The World of Outlaws visited the Red River Co-op Speedway. We just talked to Scotty Greer of the 5G car. Blair, what can you tell us about your speedway? That, of course, I was just there, but tell us a little bit about the speedway.
Well, what we've got here, it used to be a half-mile racetrack. We reduced that down to a 4/10, so it's just sort of a happy medium between, a half mile and a quarter mile. It is a pure, what we call a clay racetrack here. This clay, it's unlike any other soil around here. When it packs in real nice. You can get it tacky, you can get it dry slick. So it gives us a lot of room and a lot of different variables to work with.
And Scott told us that the track had been there since the 70s sometime.
Yeah, that's correct. In 1972, they bought a piece of property outside of Winnipeg, and then constructed the facility from that. Basically, it was just barren farmland. So everything that when you were here, Webb, everything was built. There was nothing here at all.
And what was funny is, me and you talked earlier in the evening, and I was like, "Man, you guys have a great place, a great facility," and you're like, "Do what?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." There's
well, I guess it's one of those deals. Anytime you've got a facility, and it's probably not a whole bunch different than your house. When you're walking around your house, you see all the things that need to be done and all the little things. But what you forget is that when people are coming and visiting your facility, such as yourself, it's the first time they've seen it, so they don't see the little things. But I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, we've got lots of really nice amenities here. I mean, the lighting's great. We've got concrete grandstands, fully licensed food concession. It's a very, and you may have noticed this yourself, it's a very friendly, family-oriented atmosphere here, and our crowd is very, very young. And that's something that we've noticed that shift in the last couple of years. We've taken a sort of a different path and different strategy with our marketing, and it's working. And as you can probably tell, when you were here, is that we do attract a younger crowd. We still have that hardcore race fan that'll come in and sit here in the rain waiting for it to stop. But it's nice to see that changeover because the young people are the future of this industry.
And if I had to gauge it, and you're right, I did notice it, I would say it's probably between 18 to maybe 32 was predominant there, as far as age.
Absolutely. And those are the same numbers. Those are the same numbers that we came up with. Is that 20 to 35 demographic, which is the 35 to 55, 60-year-old, 70-year-old fan. Those people are coming. And what was happening before is that we were targeting those people. And we got in here and said, why are we appealing to the same people that are already here? We need to get outside that demographic. So, let's start hitting that younger market. And, after 3 years, it's finally paying dividends.
So, okay.
I think the correct translation of what Webb was saying was that it was a hotter crowd. I did take notice too, and I explained to my wife earlier, Blair, that I would be talking about this online. There was an abnormal amount of hot women there.
I tell you what, we are so spoiled here in Winnipeg because that's the norm. So everybody wants to know why I like coming to work every Thursday. Well, you now know why.
Brother, there was so much, and listen, and I mean this with the utmost respect to women. But I might have had I discovered Manitoba when I was like 20. Oh my gosh! Oh, there might be.
Well, I know your wife's listening, but it's never too late.
No, it is. It's very much too late. Very much.
No. I say that in jest, but it is. It is one thing that anybody that visits our city, it is one of the things that they notice that everywhere you go, the crowd is younger, and it's a fairly attractive crowd.
Now, let's switch gears real quick and talk about the marketing. And I'm going to guess, since you have such a younger fan base, that part of what you did was probably social media.
We, believe it or not, we just sort of jumped on that bandwagon about, say, a year and a half, 2 years ago, because I've got two kids myself, and I'm looking at them and I'm shaking my head and I'm going, man, what a waste of time that is. And then I'm going, whoa, hang on a sec here.
Yeah.
To me, it might be a waste of time, but that's what they're doing. That is the new generation. That is their lifestyle. So we got our crew together, and I said, hey guys, like, we got to pay attention to what's going on here, whether you like it or not, whether you believe in it or not. That's where it's at. That is where the future is. And it's so. I mean, you sit down now, and I mean to start doing print ads and radio ads. Sometimes you got to scratch your head and wondering if you're wasting your money. Where for free you can type a couple of pound away in the keyboard for a couple minutes, and your message is out there to thousands of people who actively follow you.
That's right. And a lot of people don't understand what advertising is. Advertising is a message, and you're sending a message to somebody who receives it. And if you're bouncing messages off people who aren't receiving it, then you are wasting your time and your money.
It's not a message.
Yeah, one of my biggest complaints about the American tracks is I go to racetracks all over Southeast, especially, but all over the country, and there's a parts sign, a racing parts sign facing the grandstands. The exact people who are not buying the message or buying the product that the message is being sent out. And I don't. Go ahead.
It's kind of odd, isn't it, when you see things like that? But that's no disrespect to anybody that's doing that. But what it is that it's somebody who's done something for so long.
Yep.
That they're not looking outside the box anymore. They're just doing things the way that they've always done them. We're always trying to do something out of the box here, and we're going to raise the bar here. We've got some pretty high standards, and having the World of Outlaws here and people like yourself. I mean, that's a step in the direction that we want to go.
Well, Blair, I hope like hell that Dirt on Dirt sends me back up there, because I really enjoyed my experience up there with you guys. The whole staff was cool. Your people inside the scoring tower were great. Before we let you get out of here, I know you got a race tonight. Tell us thank some of your sponsors, because they're going to hear you on Facebook, and then also tell us the upcoming schedule.
Well, what we've got, we've got the big sprint car race in a couple weeks from now, the All-Star sprint cars. So we'll end up with anywhere between 24 and 30 cars there. 2 weeks after that, we have our mod feature that will pull a lot of, we could have 40, 45 mods coming up out of the state. So, I mean, the whole season, we always try and create some sort of type of event around a race. It's not enough anymore to just go to a car race and watch racing. People need to be entertained somehow. So whether it's a candy toss for the kids, it's something to try and make it interactive for everybody. And as for sponsors, man, I mean, we've got so many of them, but the one sponsor that I cannot forget to mention is our naming sponsor. Red River Co-op is a huge gas dealer, retail sales dealer up here, and without their help and support, we'd have a really difficult time trying to make some of the things go that we're trying to make go here.
Honest to goodness, Blair, I went to one of those gas stations because of the sponsorship of the racetrack. Honestly,
really?
that co-op right there in the south side of Winnipeg, right there by Norbert.
You got it.
I went. I said, I'm gonna go there. I think that's the sponsor of the racetrack. So I did exactly what all race fans do. You go support the companies that support you. So.
See, and that just goes to show you that people are cognizant of of things like that, and they treat us very well, and we try and reciprocate the favor.
Well, all right, Blair. Well, I appreciate you taking your time out. I know you got a race going on. Anytime, get a hold of me. You got something you want to talk about on the air? You have the time, and the invite is always open to you.
No, man, you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
That's fine. That's fine. Hey, that's fine. I get to call myself international now, so I love it.
Well, it was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
I missed that. Go ahead.
I said I got the feeling, Webb, that maybe he doesn't know what he's getting himself into.
That's my co-host, Brian Gray.
All right. Well, it was great talking to both of you guys, and thanks for inviting me on your show. And there's always a open invitation for anybody that's getting up here. If you get close to this part of the country, make sure you give me a call, and I'll invite you up here, and you can come to the racetrack as my guest.
You're going to have a stampede of single men rushing the border. Well,
I'll find a spot. I'll find a seat for him.
Well, thank you very much, Blair. We'll talk at you soon.
No, thanks very much. Appreciate the offer.
Yeah, that guy. Hey, what's funny about, and before we get to Darren Evavold, he is a dead ringer for Randy LaJoy.
Looks just like him, huh?
I mean, when I got there, I seen him walk around the corner. I said, "Damn, LaJoy's here. I didn't know he was coming up here." And then I really thought it was him. And so then I asked a dude. I said, "Hey, I need to talk to the promoter. I'm with Dirt on Dirt, da-da-da." And he said, "That's him right there, Blair Bodley." I said, "No, that's Randy LaJoy." And he said, "No, that's Blair Bodley." And I said, "Well," and it looks just like Randy LaJoy, just like him. All right, let's just keep this thing rolling. I'd like to welcome to the program Darren Evavold of River City Speedway, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Darren, are you with us?
I'm here. Thanks for the invite. Really appreciate it.
Did I butcher the last name?
No, that's kind of a mouthful. That's full-blooded Norwegian.
Now, I saved the best guest for last. Brian, you want some of the things he's fixing to tell us about this speedway. You're not like, okay. I won't spoil anything. Darren, tell us a little bit about River City Speedway and its origin, where it's come from to what it is today.
Well, a group of guys got together back in 1999 and put in a bid to take over the promotional of Grand Forks Speedway. And we felt back then, because racing was sort of dying off a little bit, we had to change the focus and then change the name. And so back in 1999, we became a River Cities Speedway. The River Cities because Grand Forks, North Dakota, East Grand Forks, Minnesota River Community. And we've been at this for 14 some odd years, and just real consistent with what we do. We run Friday nights what's called the Premier Racing Program, Racing Series. And last time I checked, there was only a couple other racetracks that run a late model class with a 410 sprint car class for a weekly program, and those two happen to be out in Pennsylvania at Lawrenceville and Port Royal. And, we're just consistent with what we do. We're out to make that old bull ring in Grand Forks everybody's favorite racetrack, and we're turning heads, and we kind of feel it's a diamond in the rough, and we're on our way, so to speak. We're doing a lot of different things in the social media realm, and I heard you guys talking about that, and that's real important for us. A guy by the name of Rick Ray helped us rebuild the website, and we're reaching out to everybody, especially the younger demographics with all this technology now, and we're having our best start to any race season ever. We've got 11 shows in the books now, and everybody's looking forward to each and every Friday night in the race program that we put on.
Off the bat, like right off the bat, when I got to the Speedway, I didn't even have to go inside to know, but when you walk up the front of it, it's a building. It looks like a building, and you got your ticket windows. And I knew when I walked up that it was half building, half grandstand. Tell us a little bit about the nostalgic grandstand y'all have and what the track might have been before it was a racetrack.
Well, hey, that's certainly, old school racing. That grandstand was dedicated by FDR back in the 30s. And
wait a second. Darren, before we go any further, just so people know, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That's right, yes.
Okay,
Franklin
just want to make
Delano.
sure we pointed that out.
Yeah. So, that used to be a half-mile horse track way back when, and actually the North Dakota State Fair was in Grand Forks, North Dakota for a couple of years, as I understand it. And lo and behold, over time, it became a short track, and that's what we appreciate about River City Speedway, the high banks, the D-shaped. It's kind of like a little Eldora, quarter mile around the inside, about a third mile around the outside, and the neat thing is you're in lap traffic darn near immediately, a couple, 2-3 laps, especially in the late models and the sprint cars. And so, this year we've kind of started to brand ourselves as the bull ring. It's an action track. We reshaped that thing some time ago and put on some new clay, and the guys have been doing a great job with track prep. And, that thing is just exactly what it is. We're fortunate to have great competitive racers, a lot of parity in all our racing divisions. And it's just awesome to witness. And those that have been there for the first time have great comments for the type of race action that track produces.
Oh, it immediately. I mean, as soon as I got there and the cars, it immediately moved into my top 5. I mean, it was from the sprint car racing, the late model show. Now, you guys have a couple of distinctions that are records, and a possible third distinction. What are the first 2 that are actual records you guys hold? The track itself.
Oh yeah, the track looks like it holds 3 World of Outlaw records. The first one was set in 2008, where Jason Myers turned a 9.2675 lap. That's 116.5 miles an hour on the little bull ring there. That particular night, it's kind of a perfect storm. It was heavy, humid. We'd had rain before the race, rain the morning of the race, so it was the perfect scenario. 18 different times that night the track record was broken. I'd never been to a World of Outlaw sprint car event with race fans going bananas and standing O's and cheering and hollering for time trials. That's usually when you're going to the concessions and freshening your beverage, so to speak. That was back in 2008, and last year, Steve Kinzer and Donnie Schatz put on an epic battle in our August show after the Knoxville Nationals. They're coming in through here again on August 17th. 9 different lead changes in a 40-lap World of Outlaw sprint car race. It was action like you can't believe, let me tell you. It was awesome. And when the Outlaws come to town, that's the kind of racing that, people expect, and the hard work with all the track prep and everything that's going on, it sure does deliver. And this past Friday night, Daryl Lanigan beats Clinton Smith by 24 1,000ths of a second. Checked with Kevin Kovac today, and he believes that that's a World of Outlaw late model record for closest finish. Now that we're into all this technology and transponders, so it looks like that thing may hold 3 World of Outlaw records, which is, I think, pretty neat, and it's pretty significant because we can hang our hat on great race action, that's for sure.
Oh, and you and I, we spoke at some length previously today, and being west of the Mississippi, sometimes, you don't get as much attention, I guess, as some of the tracks east of it does. But, hell, when you hold 3 records like that, I mean, what more do you need? That's a testament itself to what the racing is there. Yeah,
that's for sure. The front page of the local paper, the Grand Forks Herald, said another fast and furious finish. And, people expect that even on a weekly basis, and the guys do a heck of a job. We race 4 classes on a weekly basis. We try to be real timely. We're very efficient with how we run our operation. We run a street stock, an open wheel modified, the late models, and sprint cars. So each and every week, race fans get to see 4 different classes, and they're all unique looking, race cars. And we've been real consistent. We only made one change to our class structure in the 14 years we've been running the thing. And we went from the super stocks to this Midwest modified class because of the super stocks were dying off. We gave the guys a chance to grow the class over the course of about a year and a half. We made the switch, which we felt was important to the race program, the Premier Racing Series. It's what we call it each and every Friday night. And, we couldn't do it without all the great sponsors and the great fans and, all the competitive drivers and it's just a blast. First and foremost, I love being a promoter because I'm a race fan, and it's important for us as principals in the racetrack to try and put together the best type of race program that we can, and we feel that through everyone's help, we're doing that.
Now, 2 names you could probably help me with, and sometimes I get real busy. I got duties when I'm at the racetrack. Who is the gentleman that gives your guys a prayer before the races?
Oh, Pastor Paul.
Pastor Paul and I, we
Yep.
spoke at great length. Very nice. He's a great ambassador for your racetrack. He told me lots of other things, who he saw come through there, different things. And the number 13 that won the sprint car race.
Mark Dobmeyer.
That guy there is a wheel man.
Yeah, he sure is a hot shoe. He gives the World of Outlaw guys, the guys that do it week in and week out on a professional basis, all they can handle. And I'm not so sure that come August 17th that the 13 car is not going to be in victory lane. The earlier show in June, he was right there nipping at their heels again. And Mark's just a great guy. He does a lot with race fans. Each and every night after the races, I bet you 2/3 of the race fans go down to the pits to get their hero cards and whatnot. And Mark, just like any of the other drivers, they spend a lot of quality time with all the race fans and all the kids. And just the other night, some little kid came up and was wearing a Dottmeyer shirt, and he gave him his trophy. In fact, the trophy, I think, was a little bit taller than Mark was. And he is an up-and-coming racer, and people need to look out for him. But Mark is caused all the other guys here to step up their game. I mean, the competition is stiff on a weekly basis, and because of that, everybody's going faster and everybody's getting better, and for that we're certainly thankful.
Well, Pastor Paul was telling me during that race, he was like, I think Dottmeyer started probably 5th or 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it might have been back a little further than that.
Further, yeah, a little further. Well, Pastor Paul was saying,
probably. Yeah,
he said, Webb, I want you to watch this guy. Before it's done, he will bait these guys this way and that way, and then turn around and go the way they. Anyway, basically predicted it. He said about 4 more laps he's going to make a move, and the guy did. He drove around first and second like they weren't there, and then proceeded to put about 10 car length advantage on second and third. Very impressive performance by the 13 car.
Yeah, he is. He's just that. I watched him, take the lead out of turn 2, and he was just waiting for the right moment. And I don't think there was much room on the outside there. He could have certainly slipped off the track, and he just sees the racetrack so well. Kind of like Wayne Gretzky in the NHL, when he could see who to make a pass to. Before it ever happened. And Mark just got an uncanny knack. He's certainly a natural racer, and race fans are fortunate to watch that guy each and every week race at River Cities. Okay, well, there's one mystery I do need for you to solve for me before we let you go, before we let you thank the sponsors and give a schedule out. And I think I know the answer, but the holes that are into the pits, are those the prairie dogs? Well, they are part of the prairie dog family. I guess they are actually a Richardson ground squirrel, and there's plenty of them out there. That's for sure. I got into the pits first. When I first walked in, I seen a hole. I said, "Man, I could break my ankle in that thing," and I didn't know what it was. And I seen another one. I saw another one. I said, "This got to be some kind of animal," because they all look like a little cave or some sort. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. We always have to deal with those guys on an annual basis, is to try to make sure they're not a nuisance. They're kind of pesky. I mean, they're kind of cute looking, but I just assume none of them are out there anymore. That's for sure. Now you don't have a problem with them on in the racing surface, I take it. No, they're smart. They're actually smart enough to stay away from the racing surface. When the races are going on, you don't see any of them. But on a night like tonight, if I was to go out there, bring my pellet gun or whatever. Not that I do that, but a guy could have a lot of fun out there, almost like a pheasant farm. We could get some guys to go out there and do their thing, but of course that wouldn't be appropriate, I'm sure. So we got a good relationship with an exterminator. He helps take care of those guys. Well, before we let you get out of here, I'd like for you to mention the website of the racetrack and thank some of the sponsors of the Speedway. Yeah, it's River Cities, which is plural, Speedway.com. Check it out. For those that haven't been to the bull ring, so to speak, you got to check it out, because the website that Rick Ray built for us is right where it's at. It's real-time race monitor, live results, videos, footage. When Rick built that promo on the homepage there, kind of highlighting the bull ring as like a movie preview, it was ridiculous. Within 24 hours, there was already 20,000, 25,000 people that hits on our website. That's new. Our sponsors, Pepsi's a great sponsor of ours, Arcticat, and then McKinnon, which is Coors and Miller. Those guys are the ones that are really behind us in this thing, and there's a whole litany of a bunch of other sponsors that we got to thank too, but the list is so long that it would take me quite a while to do that, and it's because of those people that we're able to do what we do on Friday night, and we sure appreciate it, that's for sure.
Well, Darren, now that we've got an open line of communication, I'll keep tabs on the on Speedway and their happenings, and maybe we'll get some of your drivers back on here, and then even yourself.
Hey, that would be great. Thanks so very much for the invite. I appreciate it, and appreciate what you guys do.
Not a problem, Mr. Darren Evavold of the River City Speedway, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Oh, you there, Gray?
Oh, yeah. Dude,
These guys,
a president dedicated the grandstands.
Yeah, FD freaking R. Unbelievable. I mean, and the Pastor Paul was telling me about watching AJ Foyt race there in open wheel cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like back in the 60s and 70s and stuff. I'm like, well. So, yeah, that and the grandstands, the only way I can just, well, you've probably never seen the movie Hoosiers, but it was just one of those, it had the original lighting system it looked like from the 50s or 60s or whatever, the old covered grandstands, the I-beams, whatnot. Beautiful, beautiful racetrack. I mean, I stood by turn number 1. I had to walk next to the fence to get to the pits, and just the hip, I guess you'd call it, of turn number 1 and the banking just looks fabulous. I mean, the place is awesome. And we actually, we had a couple guys went over the little hip there on 1 and 2. Weiss, a driver from up that way, did a bear roll in his late model, and not that I'm proud to have seen it, but got to see one of the sprint cars do those kind of wild tumbles. The heavy on one side, light on the other tumbles they make.
Uh-huh.
It was definitely a first for me as far as a small bull ring, and the racing was just phenomenal, just phenomenal. So I should make this call, you said?
If you want, that's all. That's what I was just told.
All right. Well, let's see here. I'm having I'm having a hard time hearing because I'm getting a lot of feedback. So if you hear me stop, just ask a question or something, okay?
All right. And I'm about to lose the switchboard too. So.
All right. Let's try this. Why are you about ready to lose the switchboard?
I tell you what,
let's not do that. Since we're having problems, I'll call him on another day.
Yeah, save that. That's a good one for next week.
Okay, yeah, let's save this one, and we won't even tell people who it was. We'll just wait till next week. I'll call him and make contact with him. I just don't want to ruin.
It'll be a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, okay, and I'm glad. We need to talk to the guy.
Yeah, and Webb, those guys are busy and everything. It's hard for them to. It's great that the guys take time out and give us a chance to talk to them. So, but you do at the same time we're right in the middle of race season. So,
yeah, it's tough too that we're live, and it's a tough thing to. First of all, live is braver than taping everything. Obviously.
Yeah, I like live better.
Yeah, I like live better, too. And two...
What would you have if you were just, we sat here recording it? You would just record and like it, you'd go back, you'd do something again. It would just sound too, I don't know. But at least we're real.
Yeah. Whether it's good or bad, we're real.
Yeah, regardless.
Kyle May, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
So you've been sitting here the last 25 minutes probably thinking about Winnipeg.
Yeah. It was a long trip, but it sounds like I need to take a race car up there and maybe move there. Put my phone number on the side of the race car.
He's ready to move.
Did you hear him? He's going to make his phone number his race car number. That's very good. That's all. That's fun.
Oh, that's a marketing thing right there.
Yeah. 876-5309. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's it.
7. That's like a local Hamilton, Cincinnati first 3 digits too.
And you probably guys thought I was exaggerating about the women. Like I was just like I've never seen a good looking woman before until Mr. Bodley comes on and tells us, oh yeah, we got hot chicks. They're just running wild around here.
Yeah, I got to at least go there before I die.
Yes, you need to
make a trip.
You need to do it for me and Brian, who are married and can't. We will live vicariously through you.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I let y'all go with me, and then I can tell you about, that way y'all can kind of experience at the same time I'm experiencing it, but not really.
Let me put my...
That way you can kind of actually see what's happening and take my word for it instead of just having to take my word for it.
I'll get in trouble.
I'm not watching what's happening.
Yeah. I
didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean that.
But I will. I got the wrist attachment for the GoPro, so like surfers would use it, I guess. But we'll put it on you.
Right.
So when and then we'll let's review the tape. So
we could do a special. We could do the special call-in show. Could do call-in and play-by-play.
That's right. Oh yes, we could. Kyle would be like our puppet.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
All right, Kyle, yawn and stretch. Make your move now. Slower. Slower. She's looking. Slower. Well, all right. Well, that was a fast hour and 20 minutes. Kyle, are you looking for a girlfriend? You need us to auction? Do we need to have the in the dirt Kyle May auction?
We could do that, but I'm not looking to be just tied down. I mean, if you could possibly get like three or four different women that would win the auction.
Well, wait a second. Now you're not object.
But here's the thing: in an auction, Kyle, it's almost guaranteed.
Right.
But you said you didn't want to be tied down, but you're not opposed to being tied down by a young female.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I'm saying.
Tied down and tied up is different, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like the second one better.
Beth, what's this got to do with dirt track racing?
I just try to embarrass Kyle a little bit. Anyway.
Well, you can't embarrass a guy that's 21 with raging hormones.
No, that dude. I wish I was 21 again, knowing what I know now.
Yeah, knowing what I know now. Yeah, I could go for that. I see where that old saying comes from.
Because I probably would have invented the Dominator nose. Oh goodness!
How many of them you would have sold?
I also would have invented the engine compartment diffusing panel, the UMP version.
What all you would have needed to invent was like the bird cage.
Yeah, the bird cage. Yeah, I would have invented the bird. I would have stole the idea from C.J. Rayburn first.
Yeah, you could have beat him to it. I don't know if there's anything in racing that you could have came out with, it's going to make you any money.
But I would have thought of a better name than Birdcage. Well, anyway, Blog Talk is really kicking my tail right now. I barely hear any of y'all. So before we get out of here, I'd like to thank all my guests for coming on. I'd like to thank my new friend and buddy, Kyle Hall. He's a motorsports announcer from the Brainerd, Minnesota area. He's also going to keep us abreast of all the stuff going on in Wausoto. I'd like to thank my buddy Scott Greer, the late model pilot from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. You guys check him out at scottgreer5g.com. You can search Scott Greer. You'll find his website. Also like to thank Blair Bodley for coming on and making me not look like a liar and tell me there is good-looking women, tons of them in Winnipeg. He's the promoter of Red River Co-op Speedway. Also like to thank Darren Evavold of River City Speedway. Pretty good show tonight, I thought.
Agreed. It's going to be better next week.
Yeah, we'll say that. We got an ace in the hole for our guest next week, and
that's definitely.
Yeah. Well, for Kyle May, for Brian Gray, I'm Webb Dillard, and this has been In the Dirt. We'll see you next week.